maybe a certification in MSSC if you go through our academy, maybe a certification in FANUC, but also a certification in employability skills and soft skills. So that starts with 29 kids in February with Margaret. So the way ahead in our context, we're going to expand our work and learn, and that's ongoing. We're going to expand the number of hours Margaret works. I don't know if she's got that yet. She's not paying attention. Did I tell you that? Yep. We're going to participate in the Connexa Summer Internship Program, which I'm sure they'll speak more on. We're going to add job shadowing for our sophomores. Working real hard with Seth on that. Was his idea. He said, you know, we need to get them out there and get them see these things before we get them into the internship setting. So those are our kids at Poet Biorefining. Remember, we're an agriculture community too. So we have a large biorefining center right there in Jay County. We're going to implement the golden ticket. We're going to evaluate employability skills in the classroom. That is where to get at some of that. Seth, we're partnered with Magnify Learning as a function of our grant through the Works Council to say, how can we create a rubric that helps evaluate a kid exercise soft skills inside a project-based learning environment where kids are actually doing project-based learning, where they really physically exercise the collaboration skills, the communication skills, the decision-making, time management, and how we give the kid feedback, and how do we make it a grade? How do we assess it? What gets measured gets done. So how do we do that in a classroom setting? I think that's probably the more powerful one and the harder one to do, but we took the Indiana Employability's skills that were provided by DWD and emerging conversation on that and said, now let's make that a rubric. So that's very new for us, but if we can get that right, we can replicate it across all CTE areas. We're going to continue to feed the pig in Jay County. We're going to go not only K through 3, which one day will be a 9 through 12, right? We're going to expand that across the rest of the district. And we're going to continue to integrate John Jay Center for Learning, our adult workforce development systems, make sure they're aligned with economic development, and see if we can maintain the American dream in Jay County. And that's the notion. There's too many of us in our small communities that have seen them hollowed out in a couple of recessions where it doesn't look like it used to look like 30 years ago, 15 years ago. So in middle America, which if you look out the window of my office, it's like watching the movie Hoosiers. I mean that's just what you're seeing. We know that economic development, workforce development is tied to a good, strong economic base, and that is fulfilling the American dream. They're completely linked, and it makes it a really noble endeavor. So in recap, to achieve that vision, hopefully you saw through the images today in our story that are aligned to work and learn. I mean, that's obviously the notion today, but it's not just that. It's much more comprehensive. Soft skills, post-secondary degrees, and ensuring we're aligned to high-demand, high-wage jobs that actually are important to the particular community that you come from, with a goal of gaining that 60% graduate credential effort at the post-secondary level. Move the needle. I mean, that's what we're trying to do in our particular context. So anytime you get a chance to put Churchill into something, you do it. So I'm going to put Winston back in this. This is not the end. This is not the beginning of the end, but it is perhaps the end of the beginning. So for us, we're just beginning, but we're starting to see some movement in that regard. And if there's anything in our particular context that resonates in yours, that's wonderful. And we look forward to learning from you in your stories today as well. Thank you for having us here today. And you'll hear from Cameron later. We're excited about that.
Thank you to Jeremy and the team. I know that you are all exiting, but we have just a couple of minutes before the next guest arrives, and we wanted to open up this, Jeremy had a lot of good things to say, especially about the bigger system beyond work and learn and some of the work that they're doing and employability skills and the like, and we just wanted to open it up for questions at this time. Allison.
Jeremy, I was curious if you created your own soft skills certificate.
No, the actual soft skills certificate referenced in the presentation is the golden ticket. It's work one product. In our particular context, we're trying to really exercise that rubric, which is aligned to the Indiana Employability Framework. So the big dog in that fight is this guy. So if he can pull that together with us through project-based learning, and we can contextualize that in a classroom setting, which is very good.
Jeremy, I may have you come up here to make sure we can all hear, and we may call on other panelists as well as questions come up.
The hard ones.
Yeah, the harder questions we'll turn over to the others on the panel. Are there any other questions? Yes, over here.
Jeremy, do you have a process in place for self-reporting for the students in terms of getting their feedback on how their internships are going?
Yes, in our manual, there is a weekly, what do I want to say? What did you call it, Margaret?
I call it the emails, just
Yeah, they
journal,
email, a journal entry, so they get to self-reflect on it. I think Margaret's got like component parts of that, so they have to kind of direct some of their thinking at certain areas. But we put that in the actual manual, and then the kid emails that back to her, as she also does site visits, and I get it as a CC, and so does Seth, which is cool because then we get to validate what the kid's learning, and then that information cycles back to the rest of the class. Because keep in mind, those kids that are taking the early intro classes, they're aware of the Cameron Kunkles. They're like, I'm getting out of school half day and getting paid. You know, that's starting to get attention. I hope I answered your question. Yes, we do. Yeah.
There's another one over here. Yes, we'll make sure to post all of the different presentations that are given today up on the Career Council website.
Yeah,
Thank you, Chris.
Email's up there, and Facebook and Twitter. That's new to us in Jay County a little bit, not to our kids. Of course, the parents all go to Facebook, so if I want them to know something, I put it there, and then everything else goes on Twitter for the kids. So.
Jeremy, go ahead, and it's Jay Gully at, I can't quite.
jschools.k12.in.us. That's schools is plural. Jay Gully at jschools.k12.in.us.
Thank you, Chris. Other questions? Yes, over here.
So are you providing transportation then for students to participate in the internships?
No, it's not. It's a small community. They drive themselves. And even the one, we got one in Delaware County now, in Albany, a machine trades place, but there's actual form where the parents sign for the kids to be able to transport themselves. Like I said, this is our context. Other schools, you can borrow parts of this, but it'll be a different context for you.
Any other questions? Oh, there's another one in the back.
How is the John Jay Center for Learning funded?
Yeah, well, they've got some grants over time. Started about 10 years ago, but the operating fund is a local endowment. So the community foundation was huge in getting that started. We have some folks who have succeeded and who also contributed a great deal, but that endowment funds the operation. You're only talking about a director, a counselor, and some office staff. So it's really a broker of the community college system and hopefully more CTE systems and incumbent workforce training with our Work One partner and others. So it's a beautiful facility. You can Google it. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you to Jeremy and the team for presenting today and for what is a very promising program that will continue to grow, we have no doubt. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jackie.
Thanks, Marie. You can see why we featured the Jay County program. Really phenomenal. For the next introduction, I'm going to bring Cameron back up. You've all heard a little bit from Cameron already, but he is going to introduce the governor. Cameron, welcome.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Cameron Conkle. I'm a 2015 graduate of Jay County High School. I was interested in manufacturing and enrolled in the manufacturing class at our school. Thanks to the work of Mr. Gawley and the Indiana Works Council, I was able to participate in the Jay County Manufacturing Academy. I would also like to thank Seth, Margaret, and Stacy for all the work they put in to help me out. Manufacturing Academy placed me at FCC for a paid internship. I learned about production, quality, safety, and maintenance. After graduation, I was offered a position as a maintenance technician, and I now work there full-time. I'm grateful for my opportunity. Thank you for believing in students like me. My job today is to introduce someone else who believes in CTE, someone I'd like to thank for helping me get to where I am today. Ladies and gentlemen, Governor Mike Pence.
Good to see you again, buddy. Great job.
Thank you.
Really. Thank you very much. How about another round of applause for Cameron? I'll tell you, this is a great young man. It's good to see you again. Wow. Great to see you again. You guys in Jay County, the only Patriots that I like. You really are. And what a great opportunity to be with you all today. Cameron, thank you so much for standing in front of this august group and sharing your heart and sharing your experience and sharing your success. You are just emblematic of a vision for the state of Indiana where we are committed as a people to be the first state in America to make career and technical and vocational education a priority in every high school in every community in this state again. So thank you, pal. And to all of you who are here today, I want to thank our whole team at the Department of Workforce Development. You could give them a round of applause. Steve Braun, I think, is going to be here. Jackie Dowd doing a great job. Thank you so much. Proud of our team. As I travel around the state, I hear from so many in business and in education about their enthusiasm for this initiative of our administration, really a signature initiative, and I'm extremely proud of our team and their efforts to make this a reality. Also grateful for the hospitality here at Lebanon High School and our superintendent, Bob Taylor. If there is a superintendent in the state of Indiana more passionate about this issue, I have not met them yet. There are many as passionate, but no one more passionate. Let's give Superintendent Bob Taylor another round of applause for really believing in this vision. Thank you, Bob. And I saw the mayor-elect of Lebanon is here, Mayor Matt Gentry. Thank you for coming. I thought you were going to have to bug out after our brief photo op, but congratulations on your election. Thank you for understanding the importance of workforce and career education here in the state of Indiana, Mayor. It's great to have you here. It really is. And I know you heard from the Lieutenant Governor this morning, the shy and retiring, low energy Lieutenant Governor of the state of Indiana, I just couldn't be more proud of her. Sue Ellspermann is obviously a PhD in engineering management and has been working so closely with the Indiana Works Council. I hope you were enlivened by her presence here today and got a good sense of how blessed Indiana really is to have Sue Ellspermann as our Lieutenant Governor. So I always wait to introduce the highest ranking official in the room last. It's a matter of protocol, and so join me in welcoming the First Lady of the state of Indiana, Karen Pence, who is with us here today. And thanks to some of you for getting that joke, and the rest of y'all fill in later. But it's great to be here, and I'm also just excited to see leaders in this collaboration in the state of Indiana, all over the state that are gathered here today. Thank you for being here. Thanks for coming together. You've got an exciting agenda all day today, committed to this effort to elevate work and learning and to bring them ever closer together. And I just wanted to share with you a couple of factoids that I have, and then I hope to have a chance to give you a quick coffee break and plunge in. I'd like to say hello to Karen and I both would, to as many of you as we have a chance to before the rest of the program goes on. But I think it's so altogether fitting that Cameron would introduce me today. When you think about the extraordinary innovation that's taken place at Jay County High School, and this is a high school that like so many schools around the state of Indiana, when we first started talking about this issue back in 2013, it was obvious to me that what we were calling for, what we received bipartisan and unanimous support in the Indiana General Assembly to do, was actually organically happening in communities around the state. It was happening because as our economy was expanding, businesses were beginning to kind of turn their attention back to secondary education and begin to think about new collaborations and new ways that we could foster more effective partnerships that would open doors of opportunity for our boys and girls in high school. And really, Jay County's program that's already been celebrated here this morning was really emblematic of one of those organic programs that was already happening. I was so pleased to be able to be at Jay County back in, I think it was 2014 when we met, and to be able to present them with one of our Regional Works Council's innovative curriculum grants. but it was the partnership with employers like Sunoco and Tyson, partnership with post-secondary institutions like Ivy Tech and Vincennes that really have brought about a program that has obviously opened doors of opportunity, not just for Jeremy to be able to step out of school and now be able to step into a position with Indiana's largest auto parts manufacturing facility, but it's opening doors of opportunities for all kinds of kids. And so I just think it's just so appropriate to begin there and to think about the journey that we're on as a state and recognize that in many ways this journey began born out of the need of a recovering economy, born out of the need of a state that was experiencing recovery before many other states were. I'm proud to tell you, as I stand here today, Indiana in the last 3 years has seen the creation of 129,000 net new jobs in our economy. We have the lowest unemployment rate in the Midwest, and today, on the eve of our 3rd century, we have more Hoosiers going to work than ever before in the nearly 200-year history of the state of Indiana. So we're growing. You could applaud that if you want. I'm kind of excited about it. Come on, one guy. He was going for it. Didn't know if that was an applause. That's a big applause line for me. But to me, as I travel around the country and travel around the world, what I hear about when we're pitching Indiana, because you know it doesn't say it in the Constitution, but I am the salesman in chief for Indiana, right? When I'm pitching Indiana, people say, "Hey, we know you obviously got the greatest people in the world, you got the greatest location, you got a tremendous, diverse, strong economy, a great education system at every level, all the way through higher education." But they talk to me about workforce. They say 6.5 million people, and we'd love to be there. We'd love to grow there if we're already there, but talk to me about who we're hiring in the days ahead. And when I get into this, I mean, I could barely get out of the office of the chairman of Toyota Motor Corporation when I was in Japan a couple months ago, when I started talking about the fact that we've fostered now through the regional works councils and through our career council, we're fostering and we're, more to the point, funding new partnerships beginning in high school, and that catches everybody's attention. Invariably, they hit the pause button on whatever else we were talking about, and the rest of the conversation is all about that. Because there's a lot of states that are talking about workforce. Frankly, most states are talking about, Jackie, you know this, most states are talking about post-secondary workforce education, and that's fine. But what Indiana's doing in a very fresh way, what Cameron has benefited from in his life on a personal level, and now has affected thousands of Hoosier students, even in its infancy, is that we're really talking about making sure that our high schools work just as well for our kids that want to go get a job as they do for our kids that want to continue their education. And it's a very, very fresh idea, but it's not a new idea, is it? I mean, some of you are a lot younger than me. Mrs. Pence, obviously, is a lot younger than me. But, you know, before this hair all went white, I went to Columbus North High School, okay? And graduated back there in the, okay, I won't even say when. It was like pre-iPhones. It was pre-cell phones. I mean, records were records, right? Made of vinyl. But back then, I mean, we actually had the kind of programs that I envision going forward in the state of Indiana on an increasing basis as a priority in our school. Because in Columbus, Indiana, we had a lot of kids that, like me, were I was trying to study to go off to Hanover College and prepare for a professional career. But we had 2 Fortune 500 companies in Columbus. One's still there, Cummins Engine Company, one of our great employers in the state. And we also had Arvin Industries, which was a muffler manufacturer. And at Columbus North High School, it's much like it is at Jay County today, you know, we all parked in the same parking lot. We all went through the same double doors. Some people went this way and went to AP courses, and some people went this way and spent half their day in what we used to call industrial arts courses. There was no, there was no plan A or plan B. There were 2 plan A's, all right? And the high school was a full partner with the local community to open doors and opportunities for our kids. Walked across the same stage on graduation day, and some of my friends are right now coming up on their 30-year retirement from Cummins Engine Company. few of them like to tease me and remind me as they look at my career and their career that they've made considerably more money than I have over the course of the last 30 years, more consistently. But a lot of them are parents and grandparents now, starting their own side business in their mid-50s, have had fantastic careers, leaders in the community. But somewhere along the way, that, not just in Indiana, but somewhere along the way, that relationship with high schools was severed. And there's a lot of theories about why it happened. I'd leave it to the experts. I really have never settled on one. But somewhere over the last 30 years, we saw career technical education really migrate to post-secondary. Unfortunately, in Indiana, we've been blessed. We got Ivy Tech here and Vincennes represented here. We've been blessed with some great post-secondary career technical institutions in our state. But it moved out of high school. And what Indiana is doing that is totally fresh and totally new is bringing it back. Not to the exclusion of our post-secondary institutions. And let's all be very clear on that. What we wanted to do is make sure that we have the kind of partnerships in our high schools that will result in young people either being able to drive toward and achieve that industry background training certification, or at least get a running start on it so that when they start their post-secondary work, they have a leg up. But the truth of the matter is that in the state of Indiana, I think in a very real way, you can tell I'm a little excited about this. In a very real way, we're doing this different than any other state in the country because of two things. Number one, we're doing it in high school, okay? In the last budget, we added $48.6 million to CTE education in the state of Indiana. Proud to say nearly $250 million now goes into career technical education in our state. But secondly, the most significant thing that we did is through our regional works councils, through the efforts that you're hearing about, many of you are participating in very vigorously in the state today. We are designing these programs, incenting these programs on a regional basis. I mean, the issue is the reason Cameron is standing here and got a good paying job and a bright future in front of him is because of a collaboration between employers in his community and the Jay County School Corporation. And the ability to have the kind of internships that we're celebrating today, the exposure for all the young people at the high school, not just young people maybe whose folks work there and maybe they know somebody and say, hey, they got summertime, can they come over? But really a systematic relationship between the school that makes all the young people in the school aware of the jobs and opportunities that are available in the region. I think this is going to accomplish a couple of different things that I think are very exciting. Number one, I think it is already, there's some evidence of students that have concentrated on CTE courses, the graduation rate is moving up, okay? And I really do believe that the more relevant we make pathways in high school, we're gonna see the graduation rate go up for our kids. Now I will tell you, I'm a little out of my lane here. My wife is a school teacher all of her career. We've been married for 30 years and I'm her only pupil currently. But Karen taught in the classroom, public and private, for about 25 years. One of the things she's always said to me is, you know, it's about, yeah, thanks, you got that over there. One of the things is, you know, you want three things to be successful, to be an educator. Number one, you want rigor. Young people lose interest if it's not tough, right? You're with me. Number two, it's about relationship. It's about a young person feel like there's that person in front of the classroom that is going to challenge them, have a relationship with them. And that I can name 5 people that changed my life just because they saw more in me than I ever saw in myself, right? But the last thing is relevance. I mean, half of the young people that drop out of high school in this country today drop out when they're making a passing grade, okay? They're not flunking out, they're just quitting. And I really do believe that creating career and technical pathways that are more relevant regionally to jobs that young people in Jay County, young people in Bartholomew County can say, you know what, I could see a job I'd like to have at the end when I get this diploma and maybe I get this industry certification, I can walk out the door and start my life the way I want to start it and earn a good living. I think it's going to drive up our graduation rates. There's no question at all about it, though, that it's going to contribute to the strength of Indiana's ability to retain a great talent in our state. We all hear about the brain drain. right? And I think for young people to have greater exposure through internships, through regionally relevant career and technical education, that they're going to have an opportunity to say, wow, there are global companies right here in this state, right here in my neck of the woods that I can go to work for. I don't have to go north, south, east, west to work in a global company, right? And I really, you know, whether you're talking about life sciences in Indiana, whether you're talking about advanced manufacturing, whether you're talking about logistics, whether you're talking about agriculture, whether you're talking about high tech, I mean, there are so many dynamic and exciting opportunities that we can expose young people to, that they can know that those choices are here. I think number one, graduation rates go up. Number two, I think there's unquestionably it's going to result in us retaining more of our young people. You know, and my standard economic policy is any policy that makes it more likely that my perfect daughters and my unworthy son-in-laws will raise my matchless grandchildren in the same area code where I live. That's good economic policy, right? And so it's early in the day. Sorry to throw that at you. But anyway, we're pushing hard on all of this. You're going to hear today. I hope you really leave here as excited as I am about this. I mean, really and truly. When I was campaigning for this job 4 years ago,